So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of our Lebron Era rebuild series, and today it's going to be the Miami Heat. I'm honestly surprised it took this long to get to the Heat. I have been going off of what you guys have been requesting. I saw a decent amount of requests to do the Miami Heat, and we are finally here doing them today. Of course, the LeBron era starts in LeBron's first season in Miami. He was absolutely dominant throughout this tenure, like he has been in every single tenure, but this was obviously one of the original super teams. Now, of course, you take a look at some of the teams from years before, the big three Celtics, guys like that. There were obviously super teams, but LeBron made the shocking decision to leave Cleveland, and this is his first season. As always, let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. Of course, always open to anything and everything you guys are looking to see, but I know a lot of people have been enjoying these videos, so I'm going to continue doing them. But excited for this one today. Of course, LeBron's first season in Miami did not necessarily end on a high note. Hopefully we can change that today and get a few championships along the way. Let's get into it. We are now back here in the year 2010. Of course, LeBron James has finally taken his talents to South Beach. He has joined up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and they are the new big three. They are the team to beat here in the NBA. Now, I'm sure all of you are aware, if you were watching basketball back then, this was one of the craziest moves in the history of the NBA. And this team was unbelievably dominant throughout the regular season. They won 58 games. They were unbelievably dominant throughout the Eastern Conference playoffs. They won all three of their series in 5 games. And then, of course, got to face Dirk in Dallas in the NBA Finals, and it did not go so great for LeBron and the Heat. So, our goal today is to obviously fix that. Of course, this team did win 2 championships the following 2 seasons. Hopefully, we can make that happen today, and hopefully, we can get a three-peat. I don't think I've done that yet here in the LeBron era. So, we'll discuss this roster. Of course, it's always going to be top-heavy when you have LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. 3 Hall of Fame players, 3 guys who are obviously going to be here the entire video. My one goal today is to obviously clean up around the edges. Really bolster our center position, potentially even find ourselves a new star point guard. But of course, that's something on a year-to-year basis because we probably don't have a lot of flexibility, at least financially right now. So let's discuss this roster at hand to see what we are working with. The point guard spot is not awful. Now, there's not any sort of star or superstar here, but there's quality role players here. Mario Chalmers is only 24 years old. He's a 75 overall. At times, he could have been an impactful player for the Miami Heat. Of course, I think it didn't necessarily end super well, but he's here for now. Got Eddie House here. Nice veteran backup piece, of course, can space the floor. And then finally, 31-year-old Carlos Arroyo. So, it's a nice mix at the point guard spot. I wouldn't say I'm 100% confident in a 3-year, tenure for any of these guys at the starting guard, but we'll figure it out. Dwayne Wade, one of the greatest shooting guards in the history of basketball. Of course, he had already won a championship when he teamed up with LeBron and Chris Bosh, but he was trying to solidify that legacy even more, and I think it's pretty safe to say that he did that. So he's 28 years old at this point. He's 93 overall. He's the greatest Miami Heat player of all time, and yeah, he's not going anywhere. Mike Miller, another sharpshooter we're going to be able to bring off the bench who had some very, very clutch NBA Finals performances in his days in Miami, and then this is just not even a real person. The small forward spot, LeBron James, shocked the world, the sports world, the global, whatever you want to call it, when LeBron sat down and did that interview, said he was taking his talents to South Beach, joining the Miami Heat. It's one of the craziest moments in sports history because I don't really think anybody saw LeBron leaving his hometown team. And the way that it obviously went, Miami fans were super happy. Cleveland fans were about as pissed as they could have possibly been. Of course, LeBron went back to Cleveland, kind of solidified everything there. And at this point, LeBron's one of the most hated athletes on the planet. I am going to do whatever it takes to get him that first championship today, and hopefully we're able to get ourselves 3. Behind him, we have 2 real NBA players here in James Jones, nice role player, 30 years of age, and then Jerry Stackhouse, who's 35, and I'm honestly not really sure what we're going to do with him long term. I may trade him immediately, maybe I let him hang on for 1 season. Power forward spot, Chris Bosh. I love Chris Bosh. If you don't, I don't think people understand how good Chris Bosh especially in his Toronto days. Of course, career was just derailed by injuries eventually, but totally sucks to see. Chris Bosh was unbelievable. He was kind of like, I don't want to say the first modern power forward. I don't know if that's the way to put it, but Chris Bosh had floor spacing ability, which was not a super common thing with power forwards in the early to mid 2010s. So I think a lot of people need to do a little bit of research on just how good Chris Bosh was, especially during his tenure in Toronto. But of course, was kind of the third option here in Miami. It's not to say he was bad by any means, but obviously would have flourished a lot more as a number 1. But ended up joining Miami. It worked out pretty well for him. Udonis Haslem here, of course, a very long tenured Miami Heat player. At this point, he's a 79 overall and certainly will be an impactful role player. I believe he was actually the 4th leading scorer on this Heat team. And finally, a 37-year-old Juwan Howard. I mean, between him and Jerry Stackhouse, It's like an old folks retirement home on the end of this bench. And then finally, what I would consider likely our weakest position, the center spot. 35-year-old Zydrunas Ilgauskas, of course, was also LeBron James's teammate in Cleveland. We have a 28-year-old Joel Anthony, and then finally Jamal Magloire at 34 as well. Magloire, I always butcher his last name, but none of these guys are starting for 3 years. It's just not going to happen. But we do have to make some upgrades heading into year one. Obviously, this team is loaded. We are 100% going to be in the mix to win the East, to win it all, and let's just make sure we can solidify that as best as we possibly can. I honestly hate that it's come to this, but I've now spent nearly 11 minutes looking for a trade, and I really just can't find anything. Between the majority of the players that I'm willing to move, not only being on one-year deals, but being super old and pretty low in the overall department, along with the fact that we don't really have any draft picks, which I kind of just realized, it's going to be pretty tough to make in-season trades. So I'm taking this one here from the Los Angeles Lakers. Shannon Brown and Sasha Vujacic are certainly two players I've acquired before. And while I don't love doing this, I feel it's been long enough since I have gotten them to get them here today. So yes, we are trading all three of our centers right now. I'm of course going to find somebody else to take over that center spot. But getting Shannon Brown and Sasha Vujacic, I think is a pretty good deal, even if they both are not here long term. So that is trade number one, officially down. I'm likely going to hang on to Shannon Brown and then find something somewhere else for, either Mike Miller or Sasha Vujacic to go. I also could just move Miller to the backup three, maybe move on from James Jones. But again, we're kind of turning our attention back to this center spot right now, who has nobody. We're pulling off a trade here with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I kind of hate it for a bunch of different reasons. So it may end up backfiring on us completely, but I think it's worth the risk considering the lack of real players at the center spot that we can actually find at this point. Vujacic and James Jones going to Milwaukee. Drew Gooden is going to be brought back in return. Now, he's on a multi-year deal, which of course is really nice. So what I'm going to check right now is whose overall goes down less, Chris Bosh or Drew Gooden when you move him to center. Bosh actually stays the same, if not goes up. Gooden actually goes up one. I guess I'll just move Gooden to the center spot then. Again, it's not crazy, big deal either way. But again, a long-term centerpiece for us potentially, whether he's starting or coming off the bench eventually. Year one, he'll likely take the starting nod for us. Pretty good. And then at this point, we have found ourselves a backup center in a deal here with the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's going to be Ryan Hollins, who, I don't really know. At this point, my main goal is trying to just get players I don't get, regularly in these rebuilds. It's not super easy considering there's not a lot of elite players, and especially guys that you can, trade for at this point. So Juwan Howard, Carlos Arroyo going to Cleveland. Ryan Hollins going to be brought in. He'll now be the backup behind Drew Gooden at this starting five. So yeah, I don't really need to make any other moves at this point. I may try to trade Jerry Stackhouse because, again, we are super low in the draft pick department. So if there's any possible way that any of these, roughly idiotic teams would be willing to part with a first-round draft pick, thank you very much, Chicago. They're not really an idiotic team, but you get the point. All right, that's going to do it for trades here for year one. Let's go ahead and set this rotation. First season in Miami is officially upon us. We ended up making a couple different moves. We have added to this team, and I think overall-wise, we've made ourselves better. I really do truly, genuinely believe that. Mario Chalmers, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Drew Gooden going to be our 1 through 5. Bench unit will be led by Shannon Brown. You got Udonis Haslem behind him. Mike Miller in here now, the backup small forward. Eddie House will be the backup point guard, and Ryan Hollins rounding out the 10-man rotation. Of course, we have a young Eric Spoelstra here who hopefully is going to, grow into the coach that he eventually becomes, which is one of, if not the best in all of basketball. So I'm excited here for year one. I think obviously we would have been elite either way. Hopefully the moves we made can kind of put us over the top and, not, epically choke against a lesser Dallas team. So see you guys at the end of year one. Such a great way to cap off year number one here in Miami. Not only does LeBron James win the MVP award, but he leads this team to 66 wins. Of course, that is 8 more than this team actually had in real life. You got Boogie Cousins, Rookie of the Year. I'm just not even going to say it. You guys understand how it works for year one. Spo does win Coach of the Year, though, which is a fantastic sign. Likely means we had the best record. 9 times out of 10 it does anyways. All right, we were number one here in the East. Chicago, not far behind us. Only 4 games. Here's a look at the 62-win Denver Nuggets taking the West. And then here are some of the numbers on the season for our group. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, obviously going to be the big 3. Drew Gooden was not bad. 12-10 is about as good as I could have possibly hoped for, given his role on this team. Shannon Brown off the bench, Eddie House off the bench, Mario Chalmers, Mike Miller, Udonis Haslem, and Ryan Hollins. Led in the rebounding department by Gooden, led in assists by LeBron. All right, I feel absolutely terrible for the Charlotte Bobcats and what they are. Oh, my God. Yeah, they're just not going to win a game, are they? There's just no possible way. All right, now a little bit of a more challenging opponent here in the Orlando Magic. Of course, Dwight Howard is in his absolute prime at this point. By no means is he the best player in this series, but he is certainly the best big man in this series. So let's see what happens here in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The Battle of Florida is underway. We are up 3-0, and we have yet to lose a playoff game. And we are now taking on the 2-seeded Chicago Bulls here in the Eastern Conference Finals, just as the Miami Heat and Bulls did in real life. Of course, the Miami Heat won this series in 5. Derrick Rose, Kyle, I mean, this team's good. You know what their identity is at this point. So, I think they're beatable. I'd like to not lose a playoff. Okay, we lost a playoff game. Can it be in 5? Okay, not in 5. I just got to stop speaking. I think that's the best thing to do. Okay, and in this alternate scenario, we finally, as basketball fans, get what we want. We got a Kobe versus LeBron finals, which, of course, we unfortunately just never got to see. And it was really, really tough because those two would have made some epic, epic games. All right, here's a look at the Lakers. Of course, they are the defending champs at this point. Derek Fisher, Kobe Bryant, Ron Artest, Lamar Odom. You got Pau Gasol, Matt Barnes in here. Old friends of Drunas Ilgauskas. Okay, can we get it done here in year 1? I think it's certainly a possibility. Up 2-1, up 3-1, and we are back here in Miami. Can we close them out on our home floor? Not a great start, not going to lie to you. Looks like we're going to have to crawl and climb our way back up into this game. Very low-scoring affair, even for the mid to early 2010s. No, not going to happen, is it? Disappointing. Now we have to go back to Los Angeles, back to Staples Center, and hopefully get this done on the road. And, oh boy. Not great, Bob. Not great. Okay, are we going to Game 7? Okay, well, it's actually kind of close now. All right, I'll see you in there. Little note for you. If this is your first time watching me, I'm not good at this game. Most of you are probably aware of that. I just wanted to make sure all of you now have that understanding. Okay, flash to the... This game and their stupid fucking animations make me homicidal. There's just no possible way. Good hands. Okay. Where's LeBron? What fucking planet would LeBron James not be in this game right now? Drew Gooden gets fouled and 1. Let's fucking go. Put LeBron back in. I mean, I understand Eric Spoelstra's a good coach. Probably knows what he's doing. Not in this scenario. LeBron fouled out, didn't he? Oh, come on, dude. I need you right here. I mean, there's just no scenario in this world. LeBron fouls out right now. And now we got Drew Gooden at the free throw line. And he hits it. Drew Gooden is just clutch AF. All right. I am going to have to lock in right now. Of course. Oh, my God. Pau smoked it. Oh, my God. It feels like I'm moving like a fucking turtle, and it feels like Pau Gasol and every other player for that matter. Dwayne Wade, 9 points, dude. It feels like every other player is moving like, you know, the fucking Flash. Like, I feel like I have no speed here right now. Wade gets down, gets an easy 2. Okay, beautiful. Back to 95 apiece. Of course, we have to play excellent defense. I am certainly not going to be playing on ball against either Kobe or Pau Gasol, so I'll just chill here with Derek Fisher. Make sure he doesn't hit any threes. He's pretty good with the clutch threes, in case you didn't know. All right, Kobe just working against Dwayne Wade in the paint, gets the lay-in to go. Not great. Dwayne, I need you to step up. You're a good defensive guard. I think we're all pretty aware of that right now, and Kobe just can't keep up with D-Wade here. Nope, that's Chris Bosh. Nope. All right, I'd like a little screen here. I want to see what I can possibly do here with Mike Miller. Miller, no. Bosh with the big board, gets no foul called. Where are we? I'm getting hoed. There's no possible way that just happened. Oh my God. There's no possible way. You left the ball on the rim? Oh, give me a break here today, 2K. Nope. Corner. Mike Miller. Corner 3! And we are up 1 with just over a minute to go between all 2K's bullshit and everything else we're dealing with at this point. You know, my inability to play this game effectively, we somehow have a lead. Now, Derek Fisher's super good in these moments. Oh my God, Ron Artest, oh my God, he smoked the bunny. Oh my God. All right, calling for the ISO. You know what, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give Dwayne Wade the ball. Now I'm going to go up here, and now I'm going to get out of my way, Chris. There's just not a scenario if LeBron's not on the floor that, you know, D-Wade doesn't have the ball in his hands. So calling for the screen here. D-Wade down the lane. Bosh with a huge rebound. I'm getting fucked. This is ridiculous. Get that shit out of here. Oh my God. Am I not losing my fucking mind right now? I mean, what is there to do? There's no shot meter on a fucking layup. You just put it up. Dunk the ball, Chris. You're damn near 7 feet tall. I mean, holy hell. All right, I'm not going to lie to you. I think I prefer Chalmers in the game right now. Everything else, it's about as good as it's going to get, unfortunately. Oh, my God. It's just like, come on, man. All right, we have a shot here. Yeah, we're going to give this guy the ball because he is, again, the guy I want in these moments. We're calling for the ISO here against Kobe. Probably not a good choice, but either this or we're going back to Florida for Game 7. We're going to call for the screen with about 5 seconds left. Oh, shit. Bosch is coming from the corner. He's going to be slow. Wade, down the lane. No foul called, and it goes! And we win a championship here in year 1. Just pure cinema. All I really have to say. Dwayne Wade is going to get the finals MVP. I mean, I don't really know how LeBron played. Hell, we didn't get to use him in the gameplay, so... yeah, okay. Player retirements here. Couple notable names, especially Shaquille O'Neal. Of course, a Miami Heat legend. Also a Celtics legend. I'm kidding. All right, we are going to get into the offseason. Of course, there will be some changes. I'm not content to just run this thing for 3 years. I'm sure it probably would work pretty well, but we're not going to do that. The Raptors have our pick at number 30. Was the Chris Bosh signing technically a trade? I try to know as much as I can. That I do not know. Of course, we're going to hang on to Spoelstra, and we will approach the 2011 NBA draft, where we are working with nothing in the draft pick department. Unfortunate, I never really trade into the draft. Shannon Brown declines. Ryan Hollins picks up his option. We're not going to pick up the option on the fake player. Chalmers, I will qualify. I think he's an important piece of this team, even if he may not be the starter heading into next season. So, is Shannon Brown just gone? Is he asking for too much money? He must be. No, game's not going to let me pay him. All right, which means Shannon Brown is gone, unfortunately. I have some options here for re-signings. I'm not really sure, why 81 overall Jason Richardson's asking for less than Brown, but I really do truly think we could maybe allocate our funds better elsewhere. Now, of course, we have a 94 overall superstar here in Dwayne Wade, but I wouldn't mind considering maybe not a center upgrade. Honestly, Drew Gooden did his job. 12 and 10, obviously had some clutch plays in that gameplay. I don't think the point guard spot is 100% solidified, though. I'd like to bring back Chalmers, have him ultimately kind of anchor that second unit, but I do think maybe upgrading the starting spot would be a pretty good idea. Oh, okay. Little trade there with the Denver Nuggets, and we have an upgrade at our point guard spot. Welcome to Miami, Ty Lawson. Now, we gave up a decent amount to get him. I mean, the players in Eddie House and Ryan Hollins I'm not super worried about, but the 2 first-round draft picks, that kind of hurts a bit. But ultimately, I don't think draft picks are going to be super important in today's video. Ty Lawson's only 23. He's already an 82 overall. I fully expect him to continue to develop throughout the next 2 years of this rebuild. So at this point, it's kind of just about rebuilding the bench a little bit. We obviously need some backup guards and a backup big man. I think the starting 5 will remain exactly the same. Certainly wouldn't mind the idea of bringing in Sean Livingston, but ultimately we are going to bring back Chalmers as he's restricted. So we're probably good there. Of course, the backup shooting guard is something we will address. And then the center spot is not great. And honestly, it's kind of funny, and I've done it before, but Kendrick Perkins being like the best option sitting here, and again, given his age and him being already the highest overall, I think I am going to try to sign him. Now, I understand, yes, it's funny, he's Kendrick Perkins, but I do think he'd be an important piece. Now, I do want to check, what is the offer he has right now? All right, it's less than $2.5 million annually. So I will just give you, how about 2.75? Thank you very much. And then again, we're going to hang on to Chalmers. Of course, Shannon Brown's going to get paid a little bit more elsewhere. And so I'm feeling pretty good right now. I really am. So we will now look for some backup point guards. Could just bring back Sasha Vujacic, who of course we had for about 20 seconds and then immediately traded him. But again, he's the youngest. He probably makes the most sense for me. So we'll do all that. Chalmers, we technically don't have enough money to re-sign, but it's 2K. He's restricted. If he gets a contract, we'll match it. If he doesn't, he'll have his qualifying offer. So I'll see you guys at the start of year 2. Fresh off a championship, we are looking to go back-to-back. Made a couple changes in the starting 5. Well, one change in the starting 5, but a couple changes overall. Ty Lawson taking over this point guard spot. Of course, still got the big 3 here with D. Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh, and of course, Drew Gooden still anchoring that center spot. Bench unit will now be led by Mike Miller, who is up to a 79 overall. We brought in Kendrick Perkins to be the backup center. Funny enough, if I auto-set this, the game actually recommends I start Perkins. I thought he'd be a good depth piece. I'm not out of my fucking mind. I'm not going to start the guy. You got Giannis Haslam here at the backup 4. Mario Chalmers actually signed a 2-year deal with, I think it was Charlotte. It was somebody, but we matched the deal. And then finally, Sasha Vujacic in here. So, I think we did a pretty good job solidifying kind of the lower end of this roster. Ultimately, none of these guys are, stars or really have a lot of potential, but I think we're doing the best we can given our financial, restrictions, lack of draft capital, and, really tradable assets as a whole. So I'm content. I think obviously we're going to be really good once again. Hopefully good enough to go back-to-back at the end of year number 2. Back to back in the MVP department, at least. LeBron James out here winning yet another MVP. More importantly, we, technically speaking, had the greatest season of all time because we go 73-9. Of course, that Warriors team had not yet happened yet, so I'm thinking we're pretty good. One thing I'm hoping is our season doesn't end like the 73-9 Warriors eventually did. Now, Kawhi Leonard, that's funny, he ends up in Toronto. Chris Kaman, your sixth man of the year. Timmy D, Depoy, Ben Uzo, most improved. Spoelstra wins coach of the year once again. All right, we are once again feeling good. Well, why wouldn't we at this point? Chicago's certainly going to be a pain in the ass again. Oklahoma City certainly on the rise as well. And let's just go do our thing. I mean, we didn't have anybody average more than 21 points a game. Of course, adding Lawson certainly, helps spread that scoring out a bit. But, this team is very well-rounded. I think we do a lot of things at an elite level, and hopefully we can go out and prove that here in the NBA playoffs. So here's a look at the Wizards. Okay, no disrespect to Nick Young, but no thanks, pal. All right, moving on to Atlanta. I think outside of, maybe LeBronto, I think LeBron versus the Atlanta Hawks is one of just the worst matchups of all time. I always laugh at the clip of Jeff Teague saying he never even beat LeBron in a playoff game. Not a series, a playoff game. God, it's so funny. All right, it is time for the Eastern Conference semifinals. Quick 2-0 lead, up 3-0, and yeah, thanks for coming. Yet to lose a playoff game, and it is us and the Chicago Bulls here in the Eastern Conference Finals. So they've added Jason Richardson, pretty solid addition for them. This starting five is now all 80-plus overalls, and they're really good, no denying that. So we do finally drop a game, but we are now up 2-1. They tie it at 2-2. We go up 3-2, and we are going to Game 7, our first Game 7 of this video, and we win. And oh boy, we got a LeBron versus Steph finals. It just came with, LeBron being on a different team. Of course, we got that, 4 times when he was in Cleveland, but yeah, this one is a little bit different. So let's see what happens here. It's Steph and a whole lot of, not much, quite honestly. I'm actually very happy that it was the Warriors, not the Thunder. D-Wade, back-to-back finals. Really? I'm just out of curiosity. What does LeBron put up in the finals for, no disrespect to Dwayne Wade? Oh, boy. Woof. I mean, I get it. We swept them. I'm not terribly worried about it, but it's just not really a great series out of anybody. All right, let's head into our final offseason. Probably going to be 1 or 2 changes. I don't expect anything super major. Again, why would I? This was never going to be a rebuild where I swapped out 4 out of the 5 starters. It's just not really built like that. So hanging on to Spoelstra, we will approach the draft 90% positive. We don't have any picks here, but let me just confirm. We do not. We will skip over it. Hit team player options where Ty Lawson, I didn't realize he had a team option. That's so great. He'll be brought back on the low, and I don't really know if we have any free agents now, do we? No, we actually don't. So I might make one move. The one move we're going to try to make is a slight upgrade at our center spot. Now, is this necessary? I wouldn't, 100% say that, but ultimately, Drew Gooden's not as good as Varejao is, at least in the overall department. And while I do think Drew's been, relatively solid for us, we saw his overall go down 1 or 2 last season, and I don't want to see that again. So if I can maybe swing a deal here, I'd be pretty happy about it. Unfortunately, I don't have any other first to trade. It's just seconds, so please take it. Thank you very much, Cleveland. Okay, we're going to sign a new backup shooting guard. Hopefully that is Leandro Barbosa. And cool. Welcome to the team. I'll see you guys at the start of year 3. Third and final season here in Miami. For the first time in the LeBron era, we are looking for a three-peat. Is this the team that can do it? I think if there is one, it probably is this group. Ty Lawson, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and then we brought in Anderson Varejao. Bench unit will still be led by Mike Miller, Kendrick Perkins, Leandro Barbosa, Mario Chalmers, and Udonis Haslem, who is kind of regressing like crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. But this team's in a really good spot, looking for 3 in a row at the end of year number 3. So LeBron, unfortunately, does not win 3 straight MVPs. Derrick Rose finally gets his this time around, but we have another really, really remarkable season, 72-10. So 1 game worse than last year, technically. I'm not sweating it. Anthony Davis is a Milwaukee Buck. He's your rookie of the year. You got Chris Kaman, 6th man. Timmy D's your Depoy. Allen Who. And Spo wins a 3rd straight coach of the year. So we're looking for the three-peat. I think we're in a really good spot to do it, and hopefully this is the team that can get it done. Now, here are the numbers across the board. Led in scoring by Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh. Has LeBron ever been on a team where he hasn't been the leading scorer? I feel like the obvious answer to that would be no. I mean, I don't think, was there a season in Los Angeles that Anthony Davis outscored him? I mean, maybe Luke is technically doing it now, but, throughout his Cleveland and Miami tenure, my gut reaction is just absolutely no way. All right, it is time for Indiana here in round 1. Pretty solid squad. Young, up-and-coming team. Added Eric Gordon. Of course, Paul George is, very nicely emerging. So can we get this done here in round 1? I fully expect to. I think that's the first time we've actually lost a game in round 1. I actually lost 2 of them, and now we're moving on to the East semis. Orlando, once again, still a really good team. I just think we're just too much to handle at this point. I genuinely do. Up 2-0, up 3-0. Thanks for coming. Yes. All right, 3rd straight season. Us and the Chicago Bulls. They're elite. There's, again, no denying that, but are they good enough to beat us? I'm hoping the answer to that question is no. Up 3-0. They do win Game 4. We win in 5. Moving on to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Of course, this was the 2012 NBA Finals in real life. These 3 are not, maybe not fully formed. Of course, none of them have won an MVP yet, but they're all 94+ overall, so definitely not a walk in the park here. Looking for the three-peat. Really good start. Really good start. They do win Game 4. We win the series in 5. LeBron James Finals MVP. We get it done, my friends. We get it done, and I believe this is the first three-peat of the LeBron Era rebuilds. This one was a lot of fun. I had an absolute blast with it. I think ultimately this is, a much easier rebuild. Obviously, everybody understands that. But, just for me, I was, really looking to do this, and I'm glad I got a couple requests to do it because it's a fun one. It really is, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.